about an hour or so ago, we did reveal all of us have our little sleep issues. I snore. I'm a terrible snorer. Sonal Rapani does chunter away. She speaks away through her sleep, telling herself what, Sonal?
I just laugh at myself, okay? I laugh at my own jokes.
You laugh at your own jokes and you tell yourself what? Come on now.
One time I commented about how a joke I told myself and laughed about that was quite funny.
Yeah.
I laughed at my own jokes.
You laughed, which is fine. I do that all the time. And Robbie Greenfield, we established, maybe not crying, but you were wailing. You were doing something last night.
Think of it as whale song, perhaps. Communicating through sleep. No, I'm a chronic sleep talker.
Which is bizarre and in the extreme is what it is. You're every night without fail.
I think it's common though, and we're going to find out very soon if it is.
Let's do just that, because one of our listeners, our first texter of the day, Sanjay, this lady beat you to it today. It doesn't happen often. But Claudine, she messaged in and said, hey guys, I'm listening to you. I am a sleep therapist. She's actually a sleep consultant from Sweet Dreams. Producer Tom has reached out to her. She agreed to come on the line. And we say a very good evening to you, Claudine.
Hi guys, how are you?
Very well indeed. Thank you so much for answering the SOS, because I've got so many questions, as I think Sonal does and Robbie does. Let's start with Robbie.
This isn't a personal therapy session, just want to let you know, Chris.
It's a little. For the next couple of minutes, Robbie Greenfield talks to himself in his sleep, and he is, well, as we established, wailing in his sleep last night. What's going on there, Claudine? Give me a prognosis.
Good news is it's quite normal. Basically, it's undoubtedly related to dreaming, which we all do, as I'm sure you probably know. The wailing, if it was crying and related to Sonal's talking to herself and praising herself, that it's all coming from our dreams or their dreams. Not my dreams, of course, but their individual dreams.
So nothing to be worried about. I mean, that's the message.
Doesn't sound like it. I did, before I came on chatting to you, I did double check about the crying, and the good news is because Robbie's not actually crying, it isn't a brain disorder. But there is, not to be sort of too alarmist, but there is a worry that there could be a brain disorder if there was too much crying. But the wailing is definitely just a dream.
Okay.
Wow. Oof. Claudine, in all of your time doing this work with sleep therapy and your expertise in it, what's the most bizarre thing you've come across that somebody's come to you with a problem?
Well, look, I mean, there is obviously a lot of sleepwalking and sleep carrying out actions during sleep that we would think is a bit wacky. I mean, people finding themselves in cupboards and people finding themselves in different rooms of the house. Not to be kind of, I mean, we can make a joke about it, but there is quite serious implications of being unconscious and doing things. So I don't want to say things about people. People think, gosh, that's me there, because you can end up in your car and you can end up, in your garden without your clothes on and that kind of thing, which obviously, is funny for us to talk about, but obviously for the person that's happening to, we shouldn't really be laughing at this.
We're getting a lot of messages in for you, Claudine, in actual fact, and Espen's been in touch, and listen, I think this will chime with an awful lot of people. Sleep apnea. He says he sleeps horribly. What should he do? What's the process? What do you advise?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the sleep apnea, and actually that was really the reason that prompted me to contact, because although you're talking about snoring and you're kind of saying it in a really brushed off way, because obviously many, many, many people snore. Apparently I snore, according to my husband, but I don't believe him. But actually my husband has sleep apnea, and it went undiagnosed for a long time. And sleep apnea is very, very, very often undiagnosed, because we just think, often with men particularly, we just think our husband snores. But it's actually quite a severe condition in that you actually stop breathing. And obviously, clearly, you need to breathe. So what happens is your body wakes itself up when you stop breathing, and so your sleep is disturbed. So consequently, you don't ever get a good night's sleep. And because your sleep is disturbed and you don't get a good night's sleep, it elevates your cortisol levels, which has a knock-on effect basically to your health and well-being. So, wives out there and, their husbands really should be thinking about, okay, stop nudging him in the ribs every night and actually going for a sleep study, or starting with a doctor and then getting a referral to a sleep study. Because if sleep apnea is diagnosed, there's definitely ways that it can be helped. It doesn't have to be surgery. But going undiagnosed, it basically means you're never getting a good night's sleep, so you're never getting the rest you need.
Yeah, it's amazing. Go on.
Sorry, Rob. No, on you go.
No, it's amazing that we spend, 2/3 of our life asleep. And most people just put up with whatever condition or whatever kind of ability they have to have a good night's sleep. Some people are very light sleepers. My mum's been battling with being able to fall asleep for a long time. And I've got this Fitbit, Claudine, and it tells me how many hours of sleep I'm getting. I'm batting anywhere between 4.5 to 6.5. And I know 8 is the golden number, but I cannot for love nor money ever get near 8. And I'm sure that's true with a lot of people. How important is 8? And what can you do to ensure that you, aside from just going to bed earlier, which is never going to happen because there's too much good football on, what can you do to improve your prospects of sleeping for longer?
Yes, I mean, you're right. So essentially, if you think about the day as a 24-hour period of time, we ideally are awake for 2/3 and asleep for 1/3. And therefore, the ratio of awake hours to sleep hours is obviously 2 hours of awake to every 1. So if we're messing with that ratio, our body is going to have a noticeable effect on our body. And there are people who can definitely handle their day without having 8 hours sleep every single night, but it's not going to be, sorry to say, as low as 4.5 hours every night if you don't want your health to be affected. So you need to kind of try and find some times where you can compensate, whether that's on the days where you don't work, or if you can sleep in rather than go to bed earlier, to just top up. If you think about 8 hours a night over 7 nights, the total of that, and try and divide it up across the week, where there are nights where you have more than fewer, get more on other nights, on the nights where you have fewer, balance it out that way. Because I never like to be alarmist, because some people definitely can tolerate less sleep, but it is absolutely proven that sleep is one of the basic human needs that we can't live without, and more sleep has never been proven to be worse for us. But we definitely know less sleep is worse for us. So got to find ways that fit in with your lifestyle to make it happen. Even a nap in the afternoon. I mean, I appreciate your working hours are perhaps not always allowing you to do that, but if you can compensate with afternoon naps, that will help as well.
Yeah, that was going to be my actual next question. So you've ticked that box for me. So naps are okay as well. Listen, Helen Farmer's not going to be happy with this. We're stealing her content. This is the health hour on Off Script. But listen, Claudine, bless you. Thank you so much for messaging in. I found it enlightening. And the message, and I know you're not an alarmist, but for someone like me who snores as badly as I do, I've got to go and see a doctor pretty pronto, right?
I would. I really would. My husband was diagnosed with sleep apnea, and honestly, it was an amazing transformation for both of us. Firstly, because now I can sleep because I don't hear him snoring. But secondly, his health has really had an uptick. And it's really, really, really undiagnosed, because people just think, oh, my husband snores. I mean, it's often wives complain about it, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, for those of you who think it might be affecting your family, then I definitely suggest getting it checked.
Consider that done in the next few days. Listen, Claudine, bless you. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Enjoy your Tuesday evening and keep listening to us. We do appreciate your company.
Thank you. My pleasure, and I will do, of course. Thank
you,
much.
Claudine. Thank you so much. Lovely lady, that. And listen, important message there. And genuinely, and I know you're going to say, oh, you'll never do it. I genuinely will after that. I'm a father now. I've got responsibilities. That's what I've got.
Let us know when you do it.
Right then.